permeability of the gut, leaky gut syndrome. So it causes big issues in people. I think they say if you eat one slice of bread, it's the equivalent of eating 2 tablespoons of sugar. That's what it does to your metabolism. So, once again, these things are designed to be hyperpalatable. They make you want them. They make you have cravings. Anybody ever have cravings? Yeah.
I used to call it the Big Mac attack.
Oh, yes.
Remember that?
The Mac attack, that's right. I love the Big Mac. Give me a Big Mac, extra Mac sauce and stuff. And I actually had one of those the other day, and it made me ill. I mean, it was just like, I haven't had one of these in forever. It's been a few months ago, and I had it, and it's to the point now that I think about it. I used to mouth would salivate and everything else, and now my stomach goes, no, don't, just don't. And I look at this, and I start to think, oh man, did they sea salt that? Has that got turmeric? Has that got thyme on it? What did they put? Did they put curry in that? You start to want these flavors. And, that's borderline intuitive eating, whatever. But I actually want to go home and make that, and I have no desire for any of that. And it took me a long time to get away from that. But and this is something you have to think about, my goal is to see my great-great-grandchildren and to play with them, not watch them play, to play with them. So, is it worth a bowl of Fruit Loops? No, it's not. I'll fast and take my blood sugar and see how it is, or do whatever else. And so, what can you supplement to help your body? And omega-3s, especially DHA, who knows what a good source of DHA is? DHA is for the brain. Don't ask me to say it. It's a word that seems like it's about that long, but it's found in egg yolks. So, I see you turning your nose up. My morning coffee, I throw 1 raw egg into it. 1 pastured raw egg. You can't taste it. But good sources of omega-3s. Eggs are a very good source of DHA. Your salmon, sardines. I thought I could eat about anything all the time. And I have found that I can only handle anchovies a little bit. That is one little fish that has whipped my butt. But that's another good source of omega-3s. The small little fish have good sources of omega-3s and don't have a lot of toxins. You can also supplement with EPA DHA. If you don't like my egg thing, you can throw this into a tablespoon or something like that, and that works. You do want to make sure that you get good sources. So wherever you buy your omega-3s from, make sure they have the good manufacturing procedure seal, and there's 2 seals, good manufacturing and good practices. So those are the things that you got to look for on that. Another energy thing, back in the 80s when statins were really taking off, they started to put CoQ10 in with the statin because they knew that's what was killing people. People were having strokes and heart attacks taking the statins long term. And so they're like, why is this happening? And then they figured out that, we've taken the natural antioxidant out of it and stopped people from healing themselves. So then they started to add CoQ10. And CoQ10 went through the roof price-wise. CoQ10 used to be pennies, and now it's dollars. So that's a good form of, it's called NanoCell CoQ10. I really like it. So, once again, you're seeing the EPA, DHA, that's a high concentrate. The amount of EPA and DHA, the amount of fish oils that we get in most supplements, if you look, are in milligram doses. 1 teaspoon of that is 2.4 grams. Neuroprotective doses of EPA, DHA are in the form of 6 grams. And so you want to have that 6 to 12 grams of EPA, DHA. And so while you're looking at that, know that omega-6 fatty acids are needed by the human body. They wouldn't be called an essential fatty acid if they weren't, but they're highly inflammatory, and the American diet is rife with them. We should have pretty close to a 1-to-1 to a 3-to-1 ratio, and you can test that. There's a blood test. Stick your finger, you put your blood on these things, send them off, and a couple weeks later they tell you where you're at. You want close to a 1-to-1 ratio. The human body, or the American diet, puts us somewhere in the neighborhood of upwards to 10-to-1 to 12-to-1. Eggs are a good source. Superoxide dismutase. All your cruciferous vegetables. That's also very high in what's called endo-3 carbinol. Those are all very important for the liver for phase 1 and phase 2 of detoxification. So if somebody says they're going on a detox diet or they're doing something like that and they're taking a powder, a pill, a potion, it's so much easier just to go get these things and put them in a pan and throw some butter on them or some avocado oil or something of that nature, roast them and eat them every day. That'll do so much more for you than whatever pill or potion they want to give you.
Question on the eggs. Should it be raw, or can you eat it hard cooked, or?
You can pretty much do hard cooked or any of those. The nutrient density goes down a little bit, but we're so deficient in these nutrients anymore. Any is better than what we've got. So if you can throw it in your, coffee that has MCT oil and golden fusion and fiber, to throw egg in that, you don't even feel it. It's nothing. Little things that you can do is have things like a green juice, a green powder, and throw it in your water. Most people like sodas because of the fizz and because it has flavor. And I'm tired of water. I've had patients tell me they're allergic to water, and I'm like, that's not possible. But the thing is, they just don't like the taste. And so I carry around, and I have 2 very picky little girls, but I carry around stuff all the time that I can throw matcha tea into a water bottle. I can throw, again, that phytoorganics into a water bottle. And this is sweetened with monk fruit. So monk fruit is something that doesn't cause your body to elicit an insulin response. So it's not inflammatory. Doesn't cause you to have issues like that. So take it upon yourself to make your own flavored waters and stuff like that. But once again, back to these things, cruciferous vegetables. Broccoli, watercress, kale, kohlrabi, arugula, white radishes, rutabaga, collard greens, turnips, mustard greens, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts. You know what? If your blood sugars are running, when you're fasting, if your blood sugars, and they say optimal, so medically, if you're below 120, you don't have diabetes. Well, that's just like saying, okay, my supercar starts and will move, but but I can't go from 0 to 60 in any time at all because it's not running right. You want your blood sugars to be between 75 and 85 fasting. And so, you know, I don't know what mine is right now, but I would say if I was to guess, I'm probably in that 80 range. Might be a little higher just because I'm in front of you guys, so a little bit of stress kicks out some cortisol and increases. Never one to back down from a challenge. We'll test my blood sugar when we're done. See what happens. Well, told you I was a geek. Carry the thing with me. So, when I talk about, remember when I was saying the potions, pills, and powders? If you don't want to cook and you don't want to do that things and you want it, Metagenics makes Ultra Clear. I like Metagenics brand stuff. I have always used Metagenics brand stuff. The two little girls I was talking about, my daughters, have mitochondrial disease, and I have used Metagenics since they were born with them, and they have outlived their diagnoses. If you look at mitochondrial disease, you will see that most children that have it don't live past 12, 13, 14 years of age. And Zoe is 21 and Eliana is 17, and I was just told I'm going to a dance recital on Saturday. N-acetylcysteine, NAC, very potent antioxidant, very important to the body. And once again, actually, all of these things kind of convert into NAC. So it's something that you want to have. Off of nutrition. And when we go into the nutrition pillar, it's deep. So, pillar 3 is movement. And as we look at movement, it's just that. It doesn't have to be high intensity exercise. It doesn't have to be CrossFit for an hour a day, every day. It doesn't have to be a 3,000 meter swim. Just get outside. Actually, as funny as it sounds, get outside, take your shoes off, and get in contact with the earth. There's a whole movement, you can Google it, called earthing. But things that cause bad issues in us are generally negatively charged. The earth is positively charged. If you're walking on the earth with bare feet, there is an electrical conductance and exchange. They call it earthing. I don't know enough to speak intelligently on it. I'll let you guys do that, but there's your tidbit. I will tell you this, I built a 3-bin composter before I came in here, and I was outside in the sun with my soccer shorts on, bare feet, and letting my body get vitamin D. Even when it's overcast, your body will absorb the UVB rays and produce vitamin D. Vitamin D is very important. Sunscreens were invented in the 1950s. Our first skin cancers didn't come around until the 1980s. We are heliotrophs. Our mitochondria get excited in the sun. They get energy from the sun. If you have lived under a hat and behind sunscreen, you need to get in the sun, but don't get sunburned. You go out for a little bit of exposure, and then you go back in and cover up. Getting sunburnt is bad. If you eat unhealthy oils, trans fats, polyunsaturated fats that have been heated to a high temperature, it damages the collagen in your skin and predisposes you more to skin cancer. But there is a 400 to 500 times more incidence for people who work under UV light for skin cancer than people who work outside in the sun. So as we look at movement, next, well, you're just having all kinds of easy bike rides, but notice they're doing 2 things at once.